Hi guys, I wanted to do a quick video on my experience with the Moderna vaccine. Since I teach dermatology, this seems fitting, and I mean, I'm not going to test my students on this, but I thought some of you might get some use out of this. So, very interesting. So I had my Moderna vaccine, when was it? The end of January? And it hurt, my arm hurt a little bit. Wasn't red or anything like that. And then it went away, and I thought, okay, good. I didn't get sick or anything like that. Felt fine. And then strangely, on day 13, after the first vaccine, my arm felt itchy, and I looked in the mirror, and holy smokes, I had a reaction to it. But the strange thing is that these delayed hypersensitivity reactions, they typically take 48 hours. And of course, the type 1 hypersensitivity, the classic, in the ER anaphylactic reaction, those happen immediately. Those are type 1 sensitivity reactions or hypersensitivity reactions. So I'm scratching my head, what in the heck could have happened here? And then, let me blow this up. And then this is what made me a little nervous, is this little finger starting to go down. And that starts to look like to me, I thought, oh gosh, I had some kind of delayed staph infection that got in there, and it's got into the lymph system and it's creating a lymphangiitis. And I teach my students that's not a good sign. So I contacted my PCP and my dermatologist just to make sure everything was okay. And my PCP didn't. This is the first one she had seen, but my dermatologist, who's a Stanford dermatologist, and I think everybody knows Stanford is probably one of the best hospitals, arguably, in the country. So they have some very smart docs working there. And she said, "Oh yeah, that's COVID arm. They gave it a name already." And come to find out, her fiancé actually had the same thing, much younger than me, had the same thing happen, and much more a severe reaction than I had. And so this is probably worth talking a little bit about. Because when you see something like that with a little streak going in it, you always think, oh gosh, that's maybe a cellulitis that's gotten into the lymph system, and that's one step away from the blood and septicemia, and could be very dangerous. So make sure you always talk to your PCP, your primary care physician, or dermatologist if you get a reaction to this. But maybe at least this will put some minds a little bit at ease after you've gotten your vaccine. So let's talk it through a little bit. So to understand this, we need to talk a little bit about about the contact dermatitis. There's actually two types of contact dermatitis. There's an irritant contact dermatitis and an allergic contact dermatitis. Both of them can do the same thing. Both of them can look like that, minus the little drawing there. But so in dermatology, well, in layperson speak, it causes a rash, a red, raised, itchy skin lesion. Some people call that an eczema, which is also incorrect. In dermatology speak, it's a puretic, meaning it's itchy, erythemic, meaning it's red, eczematous, meaning it's red, raised, excoriated, and a plaque, also meaning it's raised. So that's how you would describe this type of a lesion in dermatological speak. Okay, so the irritant contact dermatitis, this has nothing to do with an allergic reaction. You're not allergic to the substance, but whatever you're using, like soap is a good example, whatever you're exposing your skin to over and over again, it's eroding the barrier function of the skin. And then that substance, we'll use soap again, gets down into the second layer of skin, which is called the dermis. And that's where the blood vessels are. There's no protection from the body and the blood there. And once these soap particles are down in the dermis, your body attacks with an inflammation, and you get that erythematous rash, or exanthem if you want me to talk in dermatology speak. But yeah, so it's a destructive agent that just breaks through the barrier function of the skin and then causes a wicked inflammation. You're not allergic. You're not allergic to the soap, but you put anything under the skin where the blood is that's not supposed to be there, then you will get a reaction to it. On the other side of the coin, we have an allergic contact dermatitis. You are allergic to this substance, and your body really attacks it and thinks it's foreign. So the rule of thumb here with an allergic reaction is the first exposure you get usually doesn't cause any rash. And that's what kind of threw me here a little bit. But what happens is that particle gets down into the dermis where your capillaries are and your blood supply is, and your body's immune system sees it and says, "Oh boy, we don't like you. You're not on our list. We're going to build up an army just in case you dare to come back again." And it's an army of T cells. And this is the classic delayed type IV hypersensitivity reaction. So usually you don't get much of a response, if any. Now there are some, and I guess we can add another one to the list. Poison oak, poison ivy, poison sumac is so powerful that usually the first exposure will cause a dermatitis to occur, cause the rash to occur. And now we can add, I guess, the Moderna vaccine. Something in that vaccine is also I'm allergic to it, whatever it is. Who knows what it is? But that's the deal. Usually you don't get a reaction, and normally you just dare that rash or that allergen to come back. And then when it comes back, it attacks, and you get the rash. So it's also called a delayed hypersensitivity because if you get the exposure, like say latex gloves are notorious for this. You wear latex gloves for the first day, no problem. Maybe the second or third day, no problem. Fourth day, you put the latex gloves on and your hands have a wicked rash all over them. And that's classic delayed hypersensitivity. Usually takes 24 to 48 hours for the rash to start after the final exposure. That's what was really strange in my case. How could it take 13 days for this reaction to occur? That's just very strange. And that might be my own unique physiology. My metabolism is incredibly slow as a 60-year-old male. But I don't know, and the dermatologist didn't know either. It's just kind of a mystery. Now, these types of reactions are not life-threatening. These are not like anaphylaxis, where you can't breathe and you have to go to the ER, and like a peanut allergy or a shellfish allergy or something like that. This is those are type 1 hypersensitivity reactions. Totally different animal. These are type 4, so they're not like it, and they're not life-threatening. So the next time I get exposed, I'm not going to get a type 1 hypersensitivity reaction. So how do you treat this? Well, my PCP, actually I put this on before I went to see anybody. I had this left over from another injury. It's a great topical corticosteroid. It's a medium strength. It's called Kenalog, or triamcinolone is the official name for it. Everybody knows it as Kenalog, or at least I do. It's 0.1% solution, and I got that on right away. And that's the same thing the dermatologist and my PCP recommended. They recommended that I use ice for the swelling. Mine wasn't swollen that bad, so I didn't do that. I guess the dermatologist's boyfriend was really swollen, so he was using ice on his. And then an antihistamine as well, just to kind of help fight the inflammation. PCP recommended that. The dermatologist didn't. Probably is not going to do much, but I did use the antihistamine anyway. And that's the story with it. So there's the start on February 1st when I first noticed it. Probably started the 31st, I would say. I didn't notice it, but there's that little finger. So I had a little bit of pain. It was sensitive, maybe 2 out of 10 on a 1 to 10 pain scale, or 10 pain as you're in the hospital. So it bugged me a little bit. It was about 2 to 10 itchy. The second day, much better. Symptoms were gone. I didn't have any itchiness. You can see it's fading away. On the third day, It was still hanging around a little bit, but I just lost interest in it at that point. And by day 5, I didn't take any pictures, but it was completely better by day 5. So now, is that the end of the story? No, this is not the end of the story, because I'm getting the booster. It's, what is it today? Friday. I'm getting the booster Monday. And we all know, because it's a type 4 hypersensitivity reaction, we know an army of T cells is floating around in me looking for that allergen. So I'm definitely going to get another reaction, and it's probably going to be worse. So stay tuned. If it gets crazy worse, I'll make another little video here. But I'll do the same thing. I'll probably start putting some steroid cream around it the day of the, well, I'll probably wait, because if it's going to be a 14-day delay again, that should be interesting to see if it comes back quicker this time. But yep, I have my meds ready to go to treat it the second it shows its head, and hopefully it won't be too bad. I think just my own 2 cents. I'm not scared. I'm a man of science, as everybody knows who follows my channel. I go by what the research says, and I have absolutely no fear of taking this vaccination at all. And for me, the rewards greatly outweigh any insignificant risks. And for someone like me who is at risk for not doing well if they get SARS-CoV-2, this is a no-brainer for me. And that's just my opinion. Okay, I hope this helps somebody else out there, and see you in the next video.